This, for me, conjures up one of my favorite episodes in Bach's life. It was when he was in Weimar and he was employed by the two constantly feuding dukes, and one of them had a very talented son, Johann Ernst von Sachsen-Weimar. He was a very gifted musician and he caught the eye of Bach. As young aristocrats do, they go for a grand tour, they go and study somewhere, and in his case it was 2 years, maybe more than that, I think 2 years. From 1711 to 1713, I think, he went to Utrecht and studied there at the University of Utrecht. At that time, some of the greatest works by Corelli, Vivaldi, lots of Italian masters, were being published for the first time by Roger, the publisher Roger in Amsterdam. And Johann Ernst brought some editions. We can imagine him going to Amsterdam, going to the Salon of the day, and buying this music and going back to Weimar and showing this to Bach. This was one of the most epicentral moments in Bach's life, where he came into contact with Italian music. Of course, he knew Italian music from manuscript sources, and he knew some older music, he knew the Frescobaldi and all that, but this was the first contact. These were the premises for transcribing a lot of works by Italian masters for harpsichord and for organ. What I particularly like about the Alessandro, I have to say it's not Benedetto. There have been many confusions about Alessandro, but it is Alessandro, the older brother. Alessandro Marcello. Well, this oboe concerto is a piece which had a huge success in its time and right to now. He turned it into a really extraordinary keyboard player. This is Bach, the great transcriber, the great arranger. I'll give you a few examples of something which I find really cool. Well, instead of, for instance, when the ritornello, you have the ritornello, which is this. When it's repeated, he will not just, but of course he'll do. That's already a sign of Bach's, well, we could call it genius, but of course he's always trying to do things differently and trying to avoid something monotonous. The original was there to allow people to, invent things while playing, and certainly the oboe player would be expected to do ornaments. Bach prefers to write them out. Another example which I like is late in the piece when you have, that's the original, so you have the strings, carpet of harmony, and the oboe does. Now Bach does a kind of crescendo, and he does something which in jazz would be called thickened line. You thicken the line bit by bit. So he starts with one voice, extraordinary crescendo. This is very interesting because it gives us an idea about interpretation. This line obviously needs a crescendo. In those days, you would not write crescendi or decrescendi in music. Well, here, Bach, in his transcription, clearly provokes a crescendo, whether you want it. It's difficult not to play a crescendo here. The Adagio has something, in the original, the oboe is unadorned, the oboe line, so it's just. And as we go down in the chain of sevens, we're going down. And well, of course, Bach will do something completely different. And here we have Bach's laboratory of ornamentation. Here we have Bach at his table working out the most refined and subtle and sophisticated and yet not overdone, yet very, very natural and well-balanced ornamentation and embellishing. So what was becomes, and what was, and surely the oboe player would have come up with some really great stuff. But Bach being Bach, he likes to make some good suggestions. So, and he does. That's the third one, and of course the fourth one will be even more intricate. I would say here there's almost a didactic, again, a pedagogic element. You want to learn how to ornament? Look at this piece. Bach is giving us some clear instructions.